Pedro and Rosita's Nest. Once upon a time, there was a hen who lived on a farm with her chicks. Her rooster was named Pedro, and she was Rosita. Pedro loved Rosita dearly. He was always a gentleman toward his hen. His dream was to build the biggest straw nest the world had ever seen. And Rosita shared that dream with him. They had even made a vow, before the pheasant and the owner of the farm, that they would build it together. The farm owner had placed his hopes in Pedro, Rosita, and their little chicks, believing they would bring him fame with their great nest. Large nests had become rare, almost forgotten. But the farm owner knew that chickens were happier and healthier when they built nests big enough to hold a rooster, a hen, chicks, and eggs. Pedro and Rosita Martínez had a plan. Building a nest meant gathering straw, sometimes even trimming it. But not all straw was fit for a nest of that magnitude. You had to know where to place the thick, stiff straws and where the flexible ones would work best. Weaving them together took skill and a whole lot of patience. And if you wanted to let the chicks help, it took a ton of dedication. But when the little ones pitched in, the nests were especially beautiful. Because only a small bird could reach the upper cone of the nest to finish its crown. Those were the best nests. Pedro and Rosita divided their tasks in perfect harmony. Pedro had a sharper beak and could fly farther, while Rosita was more skillful with her feet and beak. Plus, the chicks preferred her guidance when building. So they agreed. Pedro would go out and gather straw, cutting or carrying it as needed, while Rosita would organize the chicks and teach them to work with her on the nest. Every night, they would sit together in front of the pile of straw Pedro had gathered that day and decide how to use it. The plan was working. The nest was growing beautifully. Sometimes a breeze would blow parts of it down, but they quickly rebuilt it. However, over time, a problem arose. Pedro began arriving home late at night and would find Rosita exhausted. When she was tired, she didn't want to discuss how to place the straw. She would go to bed, and Pedro would stay up placing the straw by himself. But he only used stiff straw. The next morning, Rosita would wake up and add flexible straw in the same sections. This method was not only slower, it also made parts of the nest more fragile. Those areas always fell apart when the wind blew hard. Worse still, they began to build well-balanced sections on top of unstable ones. This caused both the good and the bad parts to collapse. As a result, Rosita grew discouraged. She felt that all her effort and sacrifice were in vain. She started thinking that Pedro was being selfish. So, she began spending more time helping the neighboring doves dig a pond for water. Pedro didn't like this. He felt Rosita had lost interest in their shared dream. "You're not helping build our nest anymore," he said. "Just one I don't even like." He also worried about their youngest chick, Ruby. She hadn't learned how to build the nest at all. She was now learning to dig with her tiny feet in the dove's pond. All this time, the farm owner had mixed emotions about the Martínez chickens. He was thrilled to see how much progress they had made, despite facing tougher challenges than most chickens before them. But he also worried. The nest wasn't growing fast enough anymore. Sometimes the wind undid more progress than they could rebuild in a day. Pedro had gone to speak with the farm owner for help a few times. Rosita went once too. Just seeing the owner filled them with hope and renewed their energy. But the owner explained that there was only so much he could do if he spoke to each of them separately. What they really needed, he said, was to meet together, all three of them, and come up with a new plan. Circumstances had changed. A new strategy was needed. No matter how much energy they each brought, without coordination, the nest wouldn't stand. To be continued. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.